Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the 2024 Oregon High School Football Officials Clips of the Week training video brought to you by the OSAA. This is the 7th episode in our series this season. As always, all clips and rulings have been vetted through Oregon State rules interpreter Kevin Hatfield. And as always, we don't look to embarrass or call out any individual official, association, player, coach, or school. Our goal is to work towards one rule, one mechanic, and one interpretation. So with that said, let's get into this week's clips of the week. The first two clips we're going to look at involve tries. And as an umpire or center judge, when we spot the ball and the teams line up, we'll generally say something to the defensive side, such as stay off the snapper. And the reason for this is they're not allowed to immediately contact or obviously rough the snapper. And we're going to take a look at two different examples here. Now in this first one, we want to pay attention to the snapper, and we'll get an end zone angle as well, which is going to be much better. Well, we can see that the snapper gets bowled over. And as we go to the end zone view here, it'll be much clearer. We want to take a look at number 17. The snapper still has their head down and gets bowled over by number 17 and contacted on multiple sides. We should have a flag here for roughing the snapper. This is the umpire or center judge's key and responsibility, although the back judge could certainly also pick up on this. But just as a reminder, the snapper needs to be afforded time to protect themselves, and they weren't on this play. Now on this try, we don't have roughing the snapper, but we want to watch the action by two different members of the defense who are going to attempt to hurdle a blocker. And you'll notice here we're going to get two flags. One from an official under the goalpost and one from the referee. And we have players on either side of the snapper attempting to hurdle. And it's important to understand that in order to call a hurdling foul, the player does not need to be successful. The definition of hurdling is an attempt by a player to jump or hurdle with one or both feet or knees foremost over an opponent who is contacting the ground with no part of their body except one or both feet. And that's exactly what we have in this case here. So excellent job by this officiating crew picking up the attempted hurdling. So now we want to take a look at a free kick from the return team's 45-yard line. And over the last couple of years, we've showed scenarios where the free kick was from somewhere other than the normal free kick line of the kicking team's 40-yard line. A couple weeks ago, we showed a play where the kicking team had to have their free kick from their own 15-yard line after a safety and then an encroachment on the kickoff. That resulted in a kickoff out of bounds and the ball put in place at the return team's 40-yard line. Now in this case, we have a kickoff from the return team's 45 after enforcement of an unsportsmanlike penalty on a prior score. And we're going to notice that the kickoff goes out of bounds right around the 9 or 10-yard line. Now it'd be very easy to fall into the trap of turning to the coach and asking them if they'd like to have the ball at the 35-yard line. But remember, the enforcement, if the coach accepts that, is 25 yards from the previous kickoff spot. And in this case, that kickoff spot, the free kick line, was the return team's 45-yard line. So the returners have multiple options here. They could have the free kick replayed 5 yards back from the 50-yard line. They could have it 5 yards in advance where the ball went out of bounds, so roughly the 14 or 15-yard line. Of course, they could decline it, or they can take it 25 yards from where the free kick was. And what we're going to notice here is that the crew does an excellent job of having this put in play at the 20-yard line. So this, in fact, was not put in play at the 35, which would be an easy trap to fall into. The 20 does represent 25 yards from the free kick line. I assume that this crew went through all of the options with the coaching staff, but it's just important with all penalty enforcement to slow down and talk about it as a crew. Job well done by this group. So let's take a look at our weekly scrimmage kick for this week. And on this play, we're going to see that the crew has excellent mechanics. The back judge is to the wide side of the field. We have the head linesman who has come down, and the line judge is trailing the play. Now, the back judge hasn't quite transitioned from the returner to the blocks in front, and that's okay. We have the head linesman in perfect position looking at action on the runner. They have the runner at this point in time. Our line judge should be coming up the field and looking at blocks in advance of the runner, since they don't have runner responsibility quite yet. And what we're going to see here is that we miss a block in the back right around the 50-yard line. That definitely springs the return for a few more yards. Thankfully, we do get a flag from the center judge. But just a reminder to the wings coming downfield to make sure that you're paying attention to the blocks in advance of the runner. We don't want to miss blocks in the back like this here. Again, excellent job by the center judge who is hustling downfield. They're going to come in actually and reposition their flag to get the spot right. So center judges, as a reminder, once the kick is away, you need to work downfield to help on those blocks in advance of the returner as well. So good mechanics by this group, and thankfully we have the center judge here to pick up this foul for a block in the back. So the next two clips we want to look at are from the same game, and in watching this game, it was obvious that the team that's in offense now, the home team in the darker jerseys, ran a very quick up-tempo offense, and that can prove difficult sometimes for officials to officiate as they're trying to get the ball spotted. And it's important to make sure that we don't allow the team to snap without the officials in position. Here we have a wing that is attempting to help spot the ball, and we have the center judge there as well. And what we're going to notice here is what can happen when a wing is trying to help out when there is a team running a hurry-up offense. First off, we'd recommend not running with your back to the field, and this official does a good job to turn to be able to see everything. But the officials are barely in position when this ball is snapped. And that can make it difficult then to officiate the rest of the play, because your mind is going 100 miles per hour just like the play on the field. And what we're going to notice here is that we have a really bad hold at the point of attack that springs this pass for a long run. So we'll watch this one again. And we just want to show this clip to help foster some good crew communication in our pregame meetings. If you know the team is going to be running a hurry-up offense, how do you want to handle spotting the ball? It's okay for wings and a back judge to spot the ball every once in a while, but when we have a hurry-up offense, it's going to be very difficult for the wings to be able to do that, get out of harm's way, and be in the best position to officiate the play. So this clip is the very next play. And just like we mentioned in the last clip, we're going to have the back judge helping here on spotting the ball. Now, what we're going to notice here is that the back judge is running to get into position, and they have their back to the play because they're trying to get back into position as quickly as possible. So what we'd recommend here is to have the umpire or the center judge either stand over the ball or between the snapper and the quarterback and hold the snap until all officials are in position. And our referee can help with that as well by telling them to stay and telling the quarterback to wait a second. The team can't snap without us giving them the go-ahead here. And what we'd like to do again is have that center judge or umpire hold the snap, let the back judge get into position. Now, as this play develops, just like the last play, we're going to miss a hold. Now, this time it's kind of behind the point of attack, but this is a takedown hold. And we need to call these at all times. So this could have been picked up by either the referee or the line judge. Unfortunately, we don't get that picked up. Now, this runner is ruled out at the 1 yard line, it appears, We'd like to see the line judge call that a little bit more quickly. Go ahead and give the kill the clock signal, and that lets everyone know that you have this runner out of bounds. So again, just a reminder to crews in your pregame, when you have a team that's going to be going hurry up, what are your mechanics going to be that evening to help make sure that officials are in position at the start of every play? So a couple of weeks ago, we looked at a series of clips that involved a measurement that went awry. And in this case, we're going to look at a series of clips, in which case we have some questions on penalty enforcement. And we want to reiterate again that penalty enforcement is a crew process. We need to make sure we slow down, communicate, and go through our mechanics and our fundamentals. And what we're going to see here is, at the start of this clip, the crew marching off 5-yard penalty for a false start. And this is going to result in 1st and 15 for the team on offense from the defense's 49-yard line. Now, after the snap, we're going to get a call by the center judge for holding, and it's going to be right around the 50-yard line, and we're going to notice that's where their flag goes. So now we have options for the coach. So the first part of penalty enforcement is to make sure that the coach is given all of their options. So in this case, they could have 2nd and about 15 as the run gain no yardage, or they can push them back and have 1st and 25. So step 1, make sure the coach is aware of all their options and get the choice from them. Now we need to enforce this. And what we're going to notice on the next clip, is that the crew enforced this penalty 10 yards from the spot of the foul, not the previous spot. The previous spot was the 49. The spot of the foul was the 50. And they've moved it back to the 40-yard line, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. We no longer enforce penalties such as offensive holding by the offense behind the line of scrimmage from the spot of the foul, except for a couple of exceptions. And offensive holding is certainly not one of those. So we're off by about a yard here. Now, the other important thing here is to notice that the down box has been moved to 2nd down. Obviously, offensive holding does not also include a loss of down provision for the penalty. So if we back up and think about penalty enforcement and what we're supposed to do here, the center judge or umpire is going to march off with the head linesman, and we want to make sure that we match up. The line judge is going to hold the end of the previous run, and once the ball's in play, they'll march off. And somehow between these 3 officials, we did not get the penalty enforcement correct, as it was enforced from the spot of the foul. Then we want to make sure that we have the down right, and all 5 officials here did not notice that the down box had moved to 2. Whether or not that was the down box person's fault, or if the officiating crew told them, we're not sure. But before the ball is snapped, we want to make sure that everything is accurate. So we're going to get this play, which is really 1st down, but it's going to show 2nd down, and we get a short pass here. And as we go to the next clip, we're going to notice that it is now 3rd down on the box. And I'm going to let the sound play on this one. If you hear the whistles, you can see the head linesman turn around, and the crew's going to come together. And I assume that they're going to be discussing the down. So the center judge is talking to the line judge, the head linesman is coming in, the referee's there, and here comes the back judge as well. So after this discussion, we'd expect it to be corrected back to 2nd down. So after consultation, it is still showing 3rd down, and they're going to let this play go off. It should be 2nd down, but it's 3rd down, and the team is stopped short, and they're going to punt on the next play. So we missed a down here for this team. The other thing we want to look at here just real quickly is that we have 5 players clearly in the offensive backfield. The line of scrimmage is the 47, and the far receiver towards the head linesman side is certainly not on the line of scrimmage. So we should have the head linesman punching back here, and they're not. But we should have a flag here for an illegal formation as well. So moral of the story here is with penalty enforcement, all members of the crew need to be involved to make sure that penalties are enforced properly, and that we have the correct down after said enforcement. Well, that's it for this week's Clips of the Week. We hope everyone is enjoying their season. The playoffs are around the corner. As always, Kevin Hatfield has reviewed all clips and rulings. If you have a clip that you would like to send to us, please use the email address on your screen. Thank you to all of the coaches and officials from around the state for sending in clips for us to review. Thank you, and good luck with your games this week.